welcome to Horror Madness with Deb and Dana.
Tonight we are here with Mick Manhattan from the Scene Snobs podcast for a couple of reasons. As you all know, we are gearing up for Carolina Fear Fest in Raleigh, May 23rd through 25th. And so we've been diving into some of the films featuring some of the celebrity guests who will be at the show. We have covered American Psycho, Carrie, and tonight we are doing 2005's House of Wax. But before we get into that, we are going to chat just a little bit about Carolina Fear Fest. So,
all right.
Mick, first of all, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate
Thank you.
We really appreciate you meeting with us and chatting with us. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was just going to say thank you so much for having me. I really, truly appreciate it. And the guys, for you coming out and being a part of Carolina Fear Fest, that's really awesome of you.
Yeah, we have been attending Fear Fest since 22, and I think that was their third year running?
Second or third.
Yeah, that was their third year. They took the year off in 2020.
Okay, okay, so it was kind of their second, or I don't know.
No, 2022 would have been their third. 2019 they started, and then I can go over all that through the interview and such. But yeah, it's been about five. This is our sixth year.
Okay, awesome. We've been going for 3 of them. Yeah. This will be our fourth year.
Nice.
We absolutely love this convention. Some of our best convention stories happened at Carolina Fear Fest. So for people who might be new to the event, can you tell us a little bit more about Carolina Fear Fest and how you first got involved?
Yeah, thank you again so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And Carolina Fear Fest is my favorite. I've been going to horror conventions since 1999, and I am so happy to not just be partnered with them and work with them in this fantastic horror convention, but it's just genuinely a lot of fun.
It is.
I don't know how long you guys have been going to horror conventions, but there used to be it used to be very different. Even 20 years ago, like it was a different environment, different vibe. Everybody sort of knew each other. Yeah. It was, it wasn't as big or broadcast as it was now. And I'll tell you, in this 20 years, in the evolution of more and more horror conventions, not just horror conventions, but movie conventions and geek conventions in general, we've been seeing more and more that's just sort of like, it seems like everything's gone up. It's gotten more, just way more busy, and it's great to see everybody, but that community feeling and a lot of those, just being able to like go and have an experience as much, not so much as going and like to meet somebody or to do a certain thing. Like you're going for an experience. And Carolina Fear Fest, this is the first convention in all that time that I've found that it just feels like that again. It feels open. It feels communal. Every time I go there, I'm more excited to go see the people.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing for us too. That's kind of exactly what you're saying. At this point, horror conventions, especially like in the Carolinas, are just like time to hang out with friends. It's always great.
It's about the people and the community. I've said it 1,000 times. But that's what we love and what keeps us going back. I am relatively new to conventions. Dana is not, but I absolutely love it. And yes, you still get that community feel, but it is growing, which it's awesome to see people coming together and the horror community in the Carolinas growing.
For me, the beauty of like going down to Carolina Fear Fest, I'm not saying this is the only convention that has that, but it seems few and far between at most points. Now, I'll go to AwesomeCon around here, which is also, it's big and it's supposed to be this huge event. But when you go, you feel like a tiny fish in this whole big lake. You know what I mean? So like going to something like that versus going to like a horror convention with Carolina Fear Fest, something like that, it really is like, yeah, it is getting bigger and bigger. See, year 5 last year was our biggest yet, and it was huge, and it was fantastic. And we partied. We had such a great time with it. But then again, it still felt like almost like a family reunion. That's always been endearing to me, going back every year.
Yeah, you walk around and you see the same people you see, and you've made friends that you don't talk to most of the year, but you get there and it's family, really.
Each passing year with all the growing it's done, it's just been truly amazing to watch.
Yeah, it really has been awesome. At least from the outside perspective, we're so excited to be like a little bit more involved this year and so stoked for it.
Yeah, we're dragging a lot of people along with us for their first Fear Fest this time as well.
I love to hear it. I love to see the numbers come out and just really come out and have a good time. Like, I love hearing everybody's experience at the end of the weekend.
Oh, it's always a great experience.
Yeah, almost all of our most amazing stories are from Fear Fest. Like, the craziest, most coincidental things just turn into like these awesome stories that we're gonna tell forever.
Oh yeah.
So this year's lineup, talking celebrity guests, is kind of stacked. We got Malcolm McDowell, Bill Moseley, and I just hope he stays away from nature walks. Alex Vincent, John Abrams, and I was really excited for the announcement of V. Neal. Like, I love the movies she's done the special effects on, and I used to watch a ton of Face Off.
Yeah, we've been binging Face Off for the last couple weeks. Unfortunately, we're finished now.
Yeah, he hadn't ever really watched it before, and I was like, oh my God, I love this show. You have to watch it.
And you're going to live it at Carolina Fear Fest this year with V. She's going to be judging the special effects contest.
Oh, that's going to be amazing. I'm so stoked. Is there anyone that you're particularly excited to see again?
There's a few. Well, Bill Moseley and I were supposed to do an interview, and he was supposed to come. So I get there early to meet with people and like kind of help get everything set. And I'm the media partner for Carolina Fear Fest, so I handle like their YouTube, but I also handle their getting their videos and their podcasts and all that stuff in order. Mm-hmm. And Bill Moseley was supposed to be on at that time when he got hit and went to the hospital.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, oh, and I didn't. I'm perfectly fine not doing the interview. Wishing him not happen to him. But I was like, this is insane. And I remember them telling me, because I was sitting there and I'm set up, and I'm like, but he's got an interview in 5 minutes. And I said it jokingly, of course, but like, I am very excited to be able to sit down with him finally, because we missed out on it last year, and I'm glad he's doing well. Malcolm McDowell, I am very excited to see. I was his personal assistant at the Florida Film Festival in 2008.
Oh wow!
Now awesome. I do not expect him to remember me in any way, shape, or form. Right. But I am super excited to be able to meet him again, because he was so gracious and so sweet and just a really wonderful human being. And like, I would love to be able now, in this capacity, to be able to talk to him a little bit more rather than just that type of dynamic,
Right.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Malcolm McDowell.
That's huge. That's like seriously huge. Yeah.
I told people for years after Halloween 2 came out, and everybody was like, oh, that must be what he's like. I'm like, nope. I was like, he's acting here because he is great to his assistants. I can at least say that.
Oh, that is awesome. I'm really excited for this Fear Fest. I really
it's going to be a great time.
So if somebody is coming to Carolina Fear Fest for the first time, what kind of experience can they expect? Like we said, we're dragging a couple of our listeners along for their first Fear Fest. So what can they kind of expect, and do you have any tips?
Well, one thing I would say is hold on to your program. 100%. Program is going to be your best friend, just to know what's going on at what times. It's got the schedule. It's got your killer clues on there. and just to kind of be privy to it. Another thing I would say is follow Carolina Fear Fest all over on social media, because they do different things in different platforms. So you're going to want to stay in the know. And if you're tagging photos, but if you're tagging photos, you're going to want to hashtag Carolina Fear Fest 2025. I'm getting out of myself with 2026, but 2025, stuff like that, because we want to see those pictures too. We want to be able to interact with you, and do not be afraid to just get in there, talk to people. These are all horror fans. They're all cool. I've always seen it as people really seem to come in kind of overwhelmed at first, because it is a huge building.
It is.
And they have the whole building. So the entire Jim Graham building down at the NC State Fairgrounds is dedicated to Carolina Fear Fest. And as soon as you come through those doors, it starts and you're there. You got your panel rooms. You've got the entire corridor has everything you can think of. They're going to have tattoos there. They're going to have podcasts there doing their stuff. They're going to have vendors all over the place, both of all types of and varieties of horror. So don't think you're just going in there, it's all going to be horror movies and that's it. But if you're a fan of all things horror, they will have it there for you. Trust me.
Oh, for sure. The vendors are amazing.
Yeah. We have befriended so many vendors through horror conventions. It's crazy.
The smart way to go, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. And we love seeing them at the conventions. It's always a good time.
And I love them too. Just we do a thing there called the $20 challenge, where we, me and my partners will take $20 and go out and try and buy as much stuff from the vendors for $20 as we can, and whoever wins at the end wins. And it's kind of taken off with them, because now they're always like, "Oh, I got this deal over here. Come over here." And it's like, okay.
Aside from celebrity panels and photo ops and vendors, what other kind of programming will there be this year?
I'm glad you asked that, because there's year 5, year 6, I should say. You see, that's where I get mixed up. I'm saying 2026, and it's year 6 this year, because it skipped over from 2020. But there's so much. And one thing I want to say about the people who put this on, especially Steph and Destiny, who run this, and they kill it every year. And I talk to them all year long, so I know how nervous they're getting. I know they're like, I don't know how we're going to top this, top that. And every year they're throwing things in that they're like, they've always planned on, but now it just gets bigger and bigger. But they're doing it in such a beautiful way. And the reason I say that is because there are lots of stuff to talk about. We're going to be doing, like you had talked about, panels, even more this year than ever before. And we're going to be covering a lot of things, not just Q&As, not just last year I did a show called Real Combat with Amelie, from Terrifier 2. And basically what she did was in her panel, she's 14, so she hasn't seen a lot of stuff. So we just had people coming up, and I have this game show called Real Combat, where 2 people pick out a movie and then they debate on why I should watch that movie. And so we did that with her, and it went over I didn't want to do it again. It was just kind of an impromptu thing. And now this year we're doing it on the main stage. People loved it. They just want to get into it. We do, we're going to be doing more fun stuff with Stump the Scene Snobs, more horror trivia where everybody can come out. Costume catwalk, which cosplay is going to be so much fun. They did that last year with the costume contest, and that was such a great time. You're going to have the filmmaking film fest titles playing all on Saturday and Sunday. You're just going to have tons and tons of stuff. Remember the Saturday night parties coming up? We've been doing that for the past. This will be our 3rd year.
Yes, we have been
and this
to
one
everyone.
Is going. It's good. Did you see the theme this year?
Yes, I'm so stoked.
I am very stoked too. I think it's going to be a great time personally. But for anybody who doesn't know, we are doing a prom theme, an 80s prom theme murder mystery dinner. And it's all under the guise that we're shooting an 80s prom horror movie. So come dressed up. Maybe you'll be an extra in a movie. Who knows? And we're going to have some really fun times. The food's going to be there. The entertainment's going to be there. You get to solve a murder mystery maybe. So that's going to be a good one. But if that isn't something you want to do on a Saturday night, they're going to be doing ghost walks. They're going to be doing seances. Everything is just covered under these, and I'm so excited and here for it, honestly.
The seances are a new addition this year, and I'm pretty excited for that. We've done the ghost walks. We always do the party. We always have such a blast at the party.
Well, here's why I'm annoyed about the seances.
Oh.
That was my idea.
Oh.
And the reason I said it's not that they never wanted it. Again, they have a long list of stuff they want to do. But I was begging for a seance because I'm the guy who they put into the mix of all this stuff. Ghost hunts, stuff like that. We do a lot of stuff at the podcast for live events. And I was begging. I'm like, please, can we do a live seance? And they're like, no, we can't do it. We can't pull it off. I'm like, I can pull it off. Let me do it. And then they booked it this year. They thought it was a great idea, but now I'm going to be at the party, so I can't do a live seance.
Oh, no.
Aren't they doing the seance every night?
Yeah, but I'm going to be Friday. I'll be on the main stage for a couple of shows, and then they just pushed me out enough that I can't make fun of fun seance.
Oh, man. We'll let you know how it is.
Please do.
Yeah, we are so excited, and we're excited to be more involved this year. And
I think our first year of Fear Fest, there was a VIP meet and greet.
Oh gosh.
And it was and turned into like the greatest experience of our entire lives. Like it was so cool.
It was, and
I'm never allowed in those, so I don't know if they're good or not.
Well, it was just so.
It was like, was it Thursday?
They keep me
Friday?
too busy.
It was Friday night, and it was when only VIPs could go Friday night.
And it was just like me, Deb, like 2 or 3 other people, and like most all the famous people.
and it was awesome. I got to talk true crime with Felissa Rose and listen to Chris Mulkey play the guitar and talk to Tom's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I haven't had a bad experience with any of the celebrities yet.
Oh, yeah.
No.
They've all been really sweet, really nice, really respectful. Like, you can hear horror stories about, at conventions with some of the celebrities. Mm-hmm. I've never had that personal experience.
Yeah, I don't think we have either.
No, not at all.
No, we have had nothing but wonderful experiences, but I think our favorite experiences have been Carolina Fear Fest. It's hanging out with Danny Hassel at the hotel after the convention's over, and everybody is just so wonderful, and we've made such good friends.
Yeah, we used to do that too. And I'll call it out for you guys on here, but the Ramada.
Yeah.
That's where we don't stay there anymore. It's kind of all over the place now, but the Ramada, because we wanted the guests to have the closest hotel.
Yeah.
So it became that was like the central spot after.
Yeah.
And man, were there some fun parties after Carolina Fear Fest. Now I haven't been in the Ramada in a little bit, but I remember year 2 or year 3. Which year was Stephen Williams there? I think it was 2022, or maybe 23. He was there, and like he was just outside smoking a cigarette at the hotel, and he let us all sit there and talk to him, and he just told stories for hours.
Yeah.
And like you don't really get that anywhere. I've been to a lot of conventions. I've worked on a lot of film sets. You don't get that anywhere.
Good times.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Absolute craziness that like you just never expect to get to end up experiencing.
So good.
Should I tell it again?
Just so many memories, especially that place. Like I always have fondness for the Ramada.
I mean, so the whole Tom Savini in a banana hammock hanging out with Felissa Rose and Dave Sheridan. I mean, like, that's just a thing that shouldn't have ever happened, and is like, I don't think that can be beat.
No, it's one of my favorite convention memories ever. Just
hey, listen, that's something. Sex machines out there at the banana hammock. There you go.
I mean, he looked good for 75 in a banana hammock. I mean, but it was just, that moment will be ingrained in my head forever, and so many more. And yeah, I'm so excited. I
know it's going to be such a great time.
We will get into House of Wax in just a minute. Mick, thank you so much for answering our questions about Fear Fest. And if you are listening and you have not gotten your tickets yet, what are you waiting for? Mick, can you tell everyone where to get their tickets and what options are available?
Well, I am going to tell you guys, definitely get out there and go to carolinafearfest.com. It's, even if you just type in Carolina Fear Fest in Google, it'll be the first thing that pops up. And you're going to want to get your tickets. You're absolutely right. Like, if there are any left. Last time I checked, there were a few left of the VIP and a couple of the weekends, which are both good passes to get if you plan on going and want to experience the whole thing. If you want to be a part of the VIP, should get you into the Saturday night party. I do have to double check that, so don't hold on to that. Don't hold me to that.
But I think it's a discount.
I think it's either a discount or it came with. I wasn't sure if it was VIP. The weekend you do have to go and get them. I think there's a discount there as well, or you can go on your own. That's for the Saturday night party. But if you want to go just day to day, there are tickets for that available. But I also want to point out that there's a very special pass this year because there's another anime convention going on, and they have this thing called the Con Hopper Pass, which is the first time doing it. And if you do decide, hey, I want to go be at Carolina Fear Fest on Saturday and Sunday, but Sunday I want to go to the anime, or Friday or Saturday, I should say, and Sunday you want to go to the anime, get your Con Hopper Pass and you can get into both.
And that other one is also in the fairgrounds? It
is not. It's a little bit, it's not too far away, but it's just a little bit down the road from the fairgrounds.
Okay.
Awesome. So now we can get into the horror of it all, in so many ways. So yeah, House of Wax, the 2005, not the original, the remake of the remake. And we picked this one because John Abrams is going to be there. So we were like, okay, let's do House of Wax because we both love Paris Hilton and she's in it. So yeah, this movie is also starring Jared Padalecki, Alicia Cuthbert, Chad Michael Murray, and, like I said, the ever-fabulous Paris Hilton.
Please don't forget the amazing and incomparable Brian Van Holt playing Bo, whom just as a turn, his last movie was called Boneyard, and it starred Mel Gibson, where he played a Mexican detective. And he looked more Mexican in this movie than he did in that one, because he's Irish Scottish. So I don't even know why. But then you look in this movie and you're like, I can see him pulling it off in this. But I promise you, go watch that horror show and see him try to pull off with blonde hair, blue eyes, and freckles.
I know I've seen that, but that's one of those movies. I don't know. We watch so many movies these days. I don't remember a single thing about it, but I know I've seen it.
I watched that movie, and immediately when they go, Detective Ortega, and he turns around, I'm like, what? Why are you in this movie? I like Brian Van Holt. Even in this one, he was a perky, but he's always been one of those character actors that when he pops up, it's like, oh, familiar face. I know this is going to be cheesy now. And he did not disappoint.
No, he didn't. I mean, overall, I didn't think the acting was horrible.
I mean, it's a good movie. There's some great gore. The acting's good. The filming's good. Everything's good, but it suffers from that early 2000s of
meh.
I don't know. I guess a bunch of people were like, hey, we could just make a horror movie and we're like guaranteed to make money off of it and we don't have to really try.
Just throw Paris Hilton in it.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. I mean, like, just from the advertising and everything, this is just a Paris Hilton vehicle. Like, nothing mattered except for Paris Hilton.
It's funny, too, because this cast, for this time in 2005, this is a stacked cast. This is the first year of Supernatural, so Jared Padalecki, coming in on this. One Tree Hill, 24 was big at that time. So this is for now, when you look back at it, you can say this is a stacked cast. At the time, it was new up and comers, so you wouldn't gauge it on that, I'm sure. But I'm sure some CW kids did. But
for sure.
Watching this one, I'm such a fan of the original that the 2000s. I have a weird theory about horror movies in the 2000s that I tend to keep to myself because people get annoyed with me.
We were discussing that earlier and trying to come up with our weird theory because there's definitely something going on in that time period.
There really is.
I'm happy to share it, but most people are just like, no, that's not the case. But I was a filmmaker at that time, working in the industry, and being a film fan and being a filmmaker, it made me realize, at that time, after the surge of the late '90s and the horror again with Scream and Faculty, I know he did some of the stuff like that, which were being filmed at the time by not prominent directors besides Wes Craven, but well-known industry directors were directing in the late '90s. And then you started seeing an influx of younger directors who were fans of the '80s horror genre. So then everything just started becoming a remake.
Yeah.
And it started remake, or you're trying to spawn off something from some of their original or copy it in some respects. So for me, it was that '90s. It was 2012, 2013 when we started really breaking away, started getting back towards the horror in the indie world that I feel kind of pushed into the forefront of the of mainstream horror by 2016, 2017. And, I think we're on a good track now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, those 2000s, though, I think it was just film fans who became directors. And then there wasn't. And there's no originality in writing anymore, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is a thing.
Well, I mean, even that was so true for so long, but I think here, I don't know, there's a bunch of good movies about to come out, and they're all pretty much still remakes. But you do have things like The Terrifier, and there are some original things popping up here and there again. Thank goodness.
I have a bone to pick with Terrifier personally.
Uh-oh.
Not in a bad way. I like the movies.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to be serious about what they are.
Oh.
That's Silent Night, Deadly Night, but with a clown.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And in my opinion, in horror, it goes. They made an iconic, cool, killer. They've actually added somewhat of a storyline after you get past the first one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. My only bone with that is it's because it's doing so well indie-wise, and it should be. I am not taking that away from it. I don't want to see that become the staple of what people are trying to make. Kind of like what they're doing. What is it? The public domain movies now?
Yeah. All the Winnie the Poohs and all that.
Scream.
Horror fans are smart, and horror fans want smart horror.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Skinamarink is another one that comes to mind.
Oh.
That's just a wild, off-the-wall thing that I feel like it had been a pretty long time since there had been a movie that out of the norm.
Yeah, for sure. That one was...
it's definitely a love it or hate it movie, I think that's a definite love it or hate it movie. But
yeah, there are strong opinions about Skinamarink. But
I thought, movies like that, I think are warranted because it's just interesting. It's just something different. You need to experiment with stuff like that. I was saying that with I don't know if you saw Steven Soderbergh's horror movie this year, Presence.
No, we have not.
It's a Soderbergh movie. It's very Soderbergh-esque, but it's all told through the POV of the ghost in the house. So you're seeing all the family dynamics played out through the ghost eyes, everything. And I really enjoyed that. Now, is it by any means the best ghost movie? No, but it's different. It's interesting. And it's all POV, which is something that people tend to skirt when you come to it. When you come to the found footage stuff, they'll pop in and out of POV sometimes, or they'll take you out of that reality. This, nope, they kept you in it the entire time.
that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out for sure.
It is dull, though. I will tell you that. Dull in the sense that it is a long, slow burn movie.
So I have a weird love for movies not ever telling you what the hell is going on. Like, that's like my favorite thing. If a movie, especially like the ending, instead of mopping up and, all the ending things, just being like, yep, figure it out, credits rolling. I always love that. And I know I'm a huge outlier and most people don't, but it's kind of my jam.
Well, stuff like that is awesome because it opens up conversations, and that's how you start talking to people and getting to know people and finding out what they love about the genre. We will get back to House of Wax. This movie is about a group of friends on their way to a college football game, and they end up in a ghost town with a broke down car and try to find help in the little town nearby. It's very tropey. And it opens with melty wax on a stovetop in 1974. And they're smoking cigs and making wax sculptures. Freddie Prinze would say it's really cool. Because this part of the movie makes me so sad for the twins, which you don't know are twins yet. It's kind of an awful scene, and no wonder they turned out the way they did. And it just cuts to present day, and Paris is looking gorgeous, and Jared Padalecki looks so young, and
he really did.
We all did.
Touche.
One of my first notes about this movie was everything about it screams early 2000s, and we already went into that. The music, the vibe, it has that feeling of a early 2000s movie. The soundtrack, though, is kind of great. Like, the actual soundtrack.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked at a lot of the song choices. They were, I'm me, so there was a lot of songs that, Deftones and Manson and stuff that, especially when this first came out, made me appreciate this movie more than maybe even I should have.
I don't agree with that after watching it again.
Yeah, no.
I might buy the soundtrack though.
Yeah, no, the music is, there's just some great songs in this. I was singing along.
Yeah, and it is kind of that time period that a lot of movies were just like bunch of new metal.
Yeah.
And there definitely is some new metal, but they don't just go hard on Limp Bizkit songs every 5 minutes.
My problem with a lot of movies like this that had soundtracks like this, which again, I agree with you, all of them back then had soundtracks like this. There was some killer music on these.
Mm-hmm.
My issue is that no one in these movies looks like they listen to any of these bands.
Oh God, no. Yeah, so that was one of the biggest things I thought stood out to me so hardcore in this movie. Also, we don't generally completely follow.
We jump around a lot.
Yeah, we jump around a lot. So sorry about that. But so they're in a garage in this weird little town, and the dude's radio comes on. And it's Marilyn Manson. Where did this guy get that CD? Why would that dude be listening to Marilyn Manson at all?
Manson from 95, 96,
right.
Not even Mechanical Animals.
Feels a bit impossible that he would have been, jamming to that in his garage.
They went straight to Dried Up, Tied Up, and Dead to the World.
Yeah.
That's
a solid song, though. So
it is. When I was singing along, that's what I was singing along to. So then they're driving into the town, and they see the sign for Trudy's House of Wax. And I think this has nothing to do with the movie. There's something so creepy and fun and beautiful about wax museums, and I just fucking love them.
Yeah. If I could just comment on one aspect of this movie that I it kind of bugs me a little bit, because it is a remake, but it seems like it's not a remake of the right movie, if that makes sense. I don't know if you've ever seen Tourist Trap. I think it was from 79 or 80 with I think it was Chuck Connors, and I know Tanya Roberts was in it. Way back in the day. Now I like the original. The original is this story too, with the the theater and things like that. But it seems more with the Roadside Lost has this kind of attraction of wax. Tourist Trap felt very much more close in tone to this, and I would have preferred it in a weird way, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
That they went with that one because I kind of like that movie a little bit more. I know I'm besmirching Vincent Price, but I love Vincent Price. Tourist Trap was a really kick-ass horror movie.
But in this movie, there's literally a house made of wax.
It's true.
But wait, did you know that it's actually made of wax?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Somehow. Yeah.
I wondered that through the whole movie. Like, how is that even possible?
I don't think it would be.
And wouldn't the sun melt it?
Yeah, I think there'd be a lot of logistical, especially. So, where did tons and tons and tons of wax come from? And if you can't even get to the town, where are these, just endless trucks full of wax coming from into this town? He
melted down all those Marilyn Manson vinyls.
Right.
Because there's a lot of wax in this town that doesn't exist anymore.
So much wax. Melted
it wasn't the earwax of all of his victims?
Right.
Probably. Goodness. So these kids are bopping along, being kind of the douchiest of douches.
Yeah.
I don't know. They didn't seem cool, except for Paris.
They're kind of dicks to each other, too.
Yeah, they are.
Does it ever feel weird that every friend group in these 2000s horror movies really didn't seem like they wanted to be around each other?
Right. And they all look way too much alike. Like, if you described
that's
all
CW.
the guys in this movie, it's the same description for everyone.
Yeah.
You either look like Superman or you look like Chad Michael Murray. That was the two.
Yeah. Chad Michael Murray. I don't like Chad Michael Murray as a bad boy. He plays a much better good boy than a bad boy. I don't like him.
He's coming back. He's making a big comeback this August. He's going to be in the sequel to Freaky Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
He played Lindsay Lohan's boyfriend in the original one.
Yes, he did.
1 and 2, wasn't he?
Was he? Was there a second one? I didn't even know if there was a second one.
You know
I thought this was the second.
I was reading about him earlier, and I also was immediately like, there was a second one? But you're probably right, because I didn't dig deep enough into it. It's probably the one that's coming out.
I'm in no way, saying that I need to see that movie. I just saw Freaky Friday for the first time ever, a year ago. But, for Chad Michael Murray fans, he's coming.
Are there? Yes, there are. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say, are there Chad Michael Murray fans?
Oh, yeah. There's a One Tree Hill following that just...
One Tree Hill was filmed not far from us in Wilmington, and I will admit I went through a little One Tree Hill phase. Yeah. I don't know. This movie is so full of tropes, which, most horror movies are. We all know that.
Yeah.
I don't think they're done well in this movie.
I don't think they're done well in most movies.
Yeah. I don't know. I just found, there's the big truck with the bright lights and it's revving its engine, and it's don't piss off the dude in the big truck. Oh, and what do? They piss off the dude in the big truck. You signed your own death certificate in the moment you threw the beer bottle at the truck.
That dude should have been a world famous beer bottle thrower. The odds of that knocking the headline out, other than just to advance the plot, are astronomical.
I don't know, but I've never defused situations by throwing bottles at people.
Right, yeah, it just doesn't usually work out that well for you. Right, it's kind of like what you were saying. It's like three dudes just being an asshole to a complete stranger who's done nothing wrong, And everyone is just kind of like, quit being an asshole, dude. I'm the one over here being an asshole.
Yeah, these movies, they were such a trip for a long period of time with it felt like they were trying to reinvent the tropes of characters in the 2000s because they didn't know what to do. Like, I mean, Scream worked because it was a high school, and then afterwards it just naturally they grew up. But then when you make a movie like this where it's like, all right, it's all college kids. How do college kids act? I guess they don't know.
Yeah.
Did anybody want to ask any one of the stars that were the age that you're going for? Like, who we do?
I think everyone's just, all dudes are assholes. There's got to be the floozy and the smart chick.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm glad I rewatched this because I gave Paris Hilton a lot of crap back in the day when this came out. And she actually did a good job in this movie. And in fact, if you look at most of the acting, I'm like, she's playing her character perfect. Everybody else is kind of off.
Yeah.
I think Paris Hilton is often underestimated, and I am a huge Paris Hilton fan. Dana is
I'm starting to feel like she wants it that way, though. No hate towards her.
That's what makes her so genius.
I years ago, like, I did a deep dive into her. And I was just like, oh my God, she might be like one of the most genius human beings that ever lived. Like, she just makes shit tons of money and makes all of her friends as rich as she is. And does it in like the most unassuming ways. Like, hey, I'm going to make a sex tape. And then I'm going to make it a horror movie that comes out at almost the same time as my sex tape that has 2 direct nods to my sex tape in it.
It's so crazy. The whole idea behind this. Well, first off, any horror movie that's above 88 minutes is just pushing it.
Yes.
Yeah, like, be real. Like, at what point? Like, I get a Silence of the Lambs, but there are exceptions to rules. If you were writing a level of horror movie that just the writing alone is going to keep people intrigued. And you know what I'm talking about when I say that, but like a lot of people don't because I'm tired of people like comparing great movies like that to like Ice Cream Man.
Right.
And it's like, you know, Ice Cream Man has a place. I'm not saying it shouldn't exist. I'm not saying House of Wax shouldn't exist, but it's not the Pit and the Pendulum. It's not going to be this intriguing thrill ride, you know, in certain areas and stuff. So for me, it's one of those things where, like, when you get a movie like this, and they pumping them out back then, keep it short, keep it like sharp, good dialogue at least, and like just give us the practical effects. And they couldn't do any of that back then.
Right.
No, there was this weird mix of practical and CGI, and
I will say some of the gore in this was really cool, though.
Yeah.
There was,
For sure.
I think, almost all of the gore in this was like exceptional, really. Like when they're peeling the wax off and he's got the flesh underneath, and I mean, there was just several things that I was just like, wow, that is like crazy well done.
I know. Even the simple
it deserves
scenes.
less characters and a better story, personally.
Yeah.
This whole thing could have just been 2 people, like a vacancy, or or no vacancy type of movie, trapped in this town trying to get away, and that would have been so much more intriguing. Sort of like on a level of Don't Breathe, that movie where like the one dude's blind and they're in the house with him. Just like that cat and mouse, like this town is taking over. These 2 brothers are coming after them, and they have no way out, and it's all wax. Could have been interesting.
Obviously, I mean, the premise is super cool. There was a bunch of character development that didn't need to happen because there was no development in the characters. But seriously, they spent the first, how long is this movie? Hour and...
It was like an hour and 50, wasn't it?
Yeah, so for the first hour and a half is character development where nobody develops. And then there's like 20 minutes of good gore, and
let's not forget the twin brother and twin sister that have the best romantic chemistry ever.
Oh, it was so creepy. There was that level I think they could have played on it more, like the good twin, bad twin, and they hinted on it in the beginning where they were like, "Oh, I'm the bad twin and you're the good twin." And that theme was running through the movie, but they could have gone more into that and less into...
Well, so in one of those special features when Robert Richard
Bob Dick.
he was talking about the script revisions and what a multicolored rainbow of a script they had, actually doing the movie. And I guarantee you, at some point in those rewrites, a lot of things made a lot more sense.
Of course, too. I mean, things get so, like, bastardized in a way, through all these rewrites. But the beauty of, like, of how they told this story, which is, see, that's the thing. Like, I want great horror movies, but I can't not have the camp and the cheese either.
Oh, absolutely.
And this movie has it, even if they weren't going for it. So that's the fun part. But like the twin aspect, let's go back to that real quick. Like, the only reason you know that he's sort of a bad one is because everyone said it, and he kind of knows how to fight.
Yeah. Also, I think she fights better than him.
Yeah, kind of does, I guess, ultimately.
I like how mad, what's his name, Sam Winchester, as I'm going to call him, for the rest of the duration. It's sad how angry Sam Winchester is. Just, what was he, mad at One Tree Hill? Like, is he like, oh, you guys replaced Gilmore Girls? Like, calm down. He was so angry throughout.
He was, and they tried to play up this whole they don't like each other, and I didn't want them to go into it deep, but like...
Yeah, they just didn't go into it at all.
Was he just jealous because dude was dating his sister? I mean...
Yeah, I think that they blatantly say that one time, don't they? That was the whole...
Yeah.
I mean,
I will say the chemistry between Chad Michael Murray and Alicia Cuthbert in this movie was awesome. Their scenes together were great, and I felt a little awkward.
Yeah, that one towards the end, it's just like they're gonna kiss, right? They're definitely about to kiss. And then I was like, really? I wasn't even thinking about it. And then
our friend
was like, they're brother and sister, and I was like, oh, fuck me, they are.
Oh, yeah. None of your movies, the sexual tension should not be so bad in your movies that you're questioning whether they're brother and sister or not. Like, that's just awful.
Switch characters or something.
I will tell you this, watching, like you had mentioned, like, he looks so young, and go back to Walker, Texas Ranger for a second.
Oh, goodness.
Sam Winchester. I'm just going to call him anything but. If you want to watch an unofficial horror trilogy with him and just see how dynamically different he looks in everything, watch Cry Wolf, then watch this, and then watch the Friday the 13th reboot or remake. And it's like this, he literally goes from like kid to like full grown like bodybuilder man.
So I was freaking out, and I kept being like, why does he look so familiar to me?
And I was like, Supernatural.
No, not him, the other one. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I jumped my own brain there.
Chad Michael Murray.
I was just like racking my brain trying to figure out what I recognized or what actor it was that looked just like him.
That would have been older.
That would have been, yeah, it turned out it was just him. He just looks just like him.
He was like, oh, that's him. It's him. He's in Riverdale. And I was like, oh, I actually forgot he was in Riverdale.
Quite the opposite of the difference in looks of the Winchester.
Wait, he was on that show Riverdale?
Yes.
Please tell me he was not a parent on that show.
He was a cult leader. And a parent
All
of
right,
one
I'll
of...
take it.
But he was a parent of one of the high school kids.
So yes, he was.
Yes. He was not a teenage boy. He was a full-ass grown adult.
Well, he's my age, so that's not fun.
Yeah.
I get the distinct
Because you go back and watch this, and you're like,
I get the distinct feeling. I think all three of us are about the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, it was that time frame for sure. Because like a lot of them, they were so much younger when you go and you look at some of the early stuff. Like I said with Cry Wolf, that came out in '90. That had Bon Jovi in it. Jeez.
Goodness.
You know, so like it goes back a good while. Like even Chad Michael Murray like started out on the Disney train, you know, with the Cinderella story movies and stuff like that. So it's interesting, and I think everybody was on Gilmore Girls at some point. So this whole crowd, none of them from Buffy.
May have been a better movie. Love Buffy.
Just the cast of Buffy.
But
because this movie would be over in 30 seconds.
There. Oh, you mentioned earlier the couple moments of camp. I did giggle when they found the pit of animals and there was the hand sticking up. And first, nobody mentions the hand at all. Like, they don't ever say to each other, like, oh my God, is that a human hand? But they just look at the dude and, like, casually mention it. Like, oh, if you're just, how'd that hand get there if you're just dumping roadkill? But then he was like, oh, look, it's fake. Anyone need a hand? And I giggled. I did.
That is true. I didn't even giggle as much as when you said it. You didn't even land it.
And I was like, oh. I mean, I love a good camp moment, but
dad joke in a pit of rotting carcasses.
but a dad joke makes great camp. We love campy, shitty horror movies. Like, I don't mean shitty in like a bad way. I mean,
you can mean shitty in a bad way too. They're good too.
I mean, we watch a ridiculous amount of bad horror movies.
I grew up on Joe Bob's Drive-In Theater, so I get it. And then of course Monster Vision and all them. So like I'm all about the camp and the terrible and again like that's the thing about like a movie like this, where there's some fun aspects to it. You can look back, like, again, technically the movie was really good. The death scenes were really good. It was played up well. All the practical effects were really good. And I did not dislike the visual effects in it. And back then, that's saying something, because there was a lot of bad visual effects in horror movies back then.
There was.
The Thing, in 2011, nonetheless.
Yeah.
So to watch something like this and yeah, like it's weird. It's got a fun connection to that camp that we loved in the 80s. We know it's sort of inspired from that. I feel like they'll tell a joke like that, or they'll add a dad joke or some sort of campy joke to this, but then go right back to way too serious of a tone.
Yeah.
It's too much. Like, it chops it up too much, in my opinion.
They tried to do too much with it. They tried to do everything that everybody loves about different subgenres of horror in one movie, and they didn't, aside from the effects, like, they didn't do a really good job at any of it.
I think this movie is technically considered a slasher, and I can kind of see that, but it's not at the same time. Somehow it's not that much of a slasher.
It's not. I have to double check the rating, because I feel maybe it's just because I'm used to movies that come out now, like Terrifier, where there's so much gore and so many deaths, and you're counting kills in the double digits. And I was like, "Is this movie PG-13?" No, it's rated R.
Yeah, it definitely, just with that wax scene alone, especially with his face underneath, how he's pulling off they're pulling off the skin with the wax. That's got to be rated R right there, because that's some chilling effects.
It was, and it was done so well, and even the contraptions that they're in when they're making them into wax figures, it was really cool, and I thought it was a pretty scene. I thought it was done well.
It's so hard to do a movie like this and be successful, in my opinion, when the original had Vincent Price as the bad guy. This movie really does not latch on to your bad guys here. Yeah, it's just two brothers who one doesn't talk and the other one, he just kind of storms around. They went for the Jason effect, I would say, or the Michael Myers effect. But at least we're getting back to a more dynamic horror villain. I feel like that was missing for a lot of years, and it's evident in this one. Why doesn't this work? Is because your villain, who cares? Nobody cares about it. There's no sympathy for him. Even if it's not sympathy, but there's, your villain is charming, like Vincent Price was back in the day.
Yeah.
It's going to make for a more dynamic time.
They tried to drum up the sympathy. I think they tried so much, and it could have been... I feel like this could have been a great movie. But there was missteps, and I'm not sure exactly when they happened.
Is they need to remake this remake of a remake?
No. Just leave well enough alone at this point. This movie has developed somewhat of a cult following. Like, people like this movie a lot, and just because I'm going to say it again, like Paris Hilton.
I mean, we own it.
Yeah. It's like the second time in a year we've watched it. Although that first time we watched it, I think we just put it on to go to sleep.
Yeah, I don't think any attention. Which is not a bad way to watch.
God, I saw this in theaters.
Yeah.
Ugh, now I want my money back.
Right. Yeah, I don't think theater would enhance this experience in any way.
I think it might dampen it. I don't know. The little cryptid sculptures that I guess they're both bad twins. Vincent did were really cool. A little tiny cryptid sculpture.
Vincent's the good one. Bo's the bad one, right?
Vincent is the one with the mask.
Yeah, he's the good one.
What?
Mm-hmm.
At the end, she's all like, "But you were never a bad guy. He just tricked you into being a bad guy."
Yes, that was the other play into the good twin, bad twin that never really landed in this movie.
Which, that didn't matter at all. But
they tried to make it seem like it was gonna.
But that right there, like that's the problem with all the writing back in the day with this. And don't mind me, everybody. I am called a scene snob, though, so give me a little bit. But if you think about it, like that's why I was like, take away some of these characters so that way you can actually emote and draw up this story of these twins versus these twins and like how that looks. These two twins that are infighting. I got what they were going for, but that's the problem with all these rewrites and having different writers come in. You're dropping things for the studio or you're picking other stuff up and then things get lost in the mix. This movie could have been good. I maintain that every movie could be good. It just takes a few tweaks, or something like this. Like this is one of those ones. I would have preferred more of a Tourist Trap remake than a House of Wax. Again, for anybody who hasn't seen Tourist Trap, go watch it and you'll see there's this backwoods slasher feel to it that this one seems to trying to emulate. It wasn't really the tone or the vibe of the 53 version. So it was one of those things where it's like even when you get to the movie theater and the town is in there and has all these victims, it's not the same. It doesn't land the same. I understand that you're trying to pay sort of an homage to the 53 version with his museum and the big theater, but it's just not landing. You haven't set this up. You haven't gotten to this point where we're all waiting and cannot wait to see how glorious this is going to be. They're like art form that they've been doing for years with all these victims. All I'm seeing is like, first of all, you get an hour in before you really get any kills in the group.
Yeah.
And then you're finally, by the time it starts rolling, it happens few and far between. It's almost like you're playing a video game where they're finding clues along the way. And then it just pops off and then it's all done. And it's like, to me, it's like you really need to start writing your stories so that way I understand these characters better than I'm trying to understand what's going on.
A thing that stood out to me. So, again, we've got this whole town. It had to have taken them years to turn all these people into wax figures. Like, that's not something you could just do overnight no matter what. So, why does this guy have such a well-stocked radiator belt collection? like 18 of every size, right? Why would that even he has no need for a car. Why would those be stocked there? Anyway, I love pointing out.
Well, because I think that's how they get the victims. They cut the radiator belts. But I mean, how many people are camping out?
Right.
I mean, how many people are camping out up the road?
Yep.
And 15 miles away, that they're just gonna They're gonna somehow hike 30 miles and still make it to a game that same day in some other city. Like, I don't think you're gonna walk that far at all.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I didn't even pick up on the fan belt, but if you think about it, yeah, that could be their trophies. And the fact that it would make more sense that Bo is doing it, because you have Vincent who's getting all of he's collecting. He's got his hobby, and that's what he's collecting. And Bo is constantly always helping him, but none of that is his art.
Right.
You know, he's just sort of the helper. So it'd be kind of a cool dynamic to say, that's why I collect these. Every band I cut to add to my brother's art, that's my trophy. But you don't think, that's the thing, like, it wasn't thought about because I don't think that's important. But those little nuances would be something fantastic.
Yeah.
And make me care about Bo.
There is so much potential and so many missed opportunities in this movie. The number one talked about scene is, of course, you know, everybody wanted to see Paris die
Did everyone? I don't think anyone wanted to see her die, and then they made this movie and made that a thing.
Yeah, no, I meant that was their tagline for the movie, and really it was just see Paris, strip.
Right. I agree. Like, I think this is definitely capitalization on what, I can't remember the name of that show that her and Nicole Richie were on, where they would go, Simple Life. There you go. I remember when that came out, and that was huge. That propelled, in my opinion, and set us down forth. And I can go on and on for hours on that, and set us down this hellacious reality show driven path that we live on now. I don't think it was the first one, but if you remember how big that show made reality, after that, every celebrity wanted a reality TV show that wasn't like a rising star at the time, or, you know, everybody, you know, like, people wanted to get on these reality shows where they're doing Dance Moms after that also. So I just want to say, Paris Hilton and House of Wax, you created a timeline that I don't want to be a part of.
So I think it's wild, speaking of that. So back in those days, it was like me and all of my like punk and goth friends and stuff gathering around a TV weekly to watch The Simple Life, because it was so ridiculous and we all loved it. And we would all sit there and be like, man, I hate this. Well, why do we watch it every week? Shut up.
When it came out, I was in Germany, and I bought them all on DVD because I just wanted to see the nonsense that Paris and Nicole got into. And they just did a little comeback show.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
No, listen, I get it. I get why people like stuff like that. But then you get them in these movies, because if you look at all the horror movies from that time, too, if it didn't have a CW kid or it didn't have some aging out celebrity, it had some sort of reality star or parody of a character. Remember Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah.
When they had, who was that, Jason Mewes, basically, that kid? He looked exactly like Jason Mewes in the movie. But you see, like, they're always trying to, like, parody something or have, like, whatever hot thing was on in the moment.
Yeah.
It takes away from the stories.
Everybody's grabbing onto the nostalgia of things and hoping it hits.
Yeah, I think that's why it made the early 80s of horror and the 70s so special.
I don't even want to get back on track. I don't know. Like, they go back into the twin thing, and there's like this big reveal that they were Siamese twins, and that's why he wears a mask, as if we wouldn't have figured that out when we first saw him in a mask, or they didn't show his face in the beginning.
You know, I hear what you're saying with that, but also, like, I just didn't care.
It was supposed to be this big reveal when she saw the newspaper clippings. And
it's like, oh my God, they're Siamese twins. I'm so shocked. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if they are or they aren't, nothing has changed.
They tried it with a couple things, because then they tried the second big reveal at the end where they were like, oh my God, they had 3 sons, not 2.
Well, so that was a setup for a sequel that never happened.
Yeah, but it didn't happen.
I'm not surprised.
Nobody cared. Nobody gave a shit. Like,
I didn't look it up. I should have. I think this movie, like, did all right, you know? I certainly don't think it made anybody, famous or rich just from this movie, but I think it like made its money back at least.
I mean, which it should have. It wasn't. The acting is all right. The
Oh yeah.
soundtrack is great. I didn't really like this movie or dislike it. Like,
yeah, I'm so neutral.
and we usually love a movie and can't talk about it because we have no opinion. I mean, we have opinions, but it's just like we could talk for an hour about how much we love this movie. Or we really hated a movie and we could talk for like 3 hours about.
Talking shit about it. Yeah.
And this is just kind of like, meh. I could give or take it.
We have a rule on our show that if you didn't like a movie, and nobody's allowed to rally against a movie unless they have a recommendation. So would it be okay if I asked you guys what your recommendation instead of this is?
Oh, goodness.
Yes, but it's going to take me a second.
Like in the same line sort of this movie, or just any fucking movie? Like, what are the rules for this?
You just have to have a recommendation. Generally, when I do it, if I'm speaking against a movie, I try to pick along the same lines, something that's like, well, if you're not going to like this is sort of like along the same lines. Why don't you try this?
I've got it.
Go for it.
Waxwork.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, oh my God, such a great movie.
That was like the first horror movie I ever remember from childhood, terrifying the holy living crap out of me, and me being too young to understand what was going on. Like that beginning werewolf scene and stuff was just like, oh my God, I was so scared as a child. Like it was one of my first big horror movies in my life. I was way, way too young to have watched it.
There you go, horror heads. You better watch Waxwork.
Okay, so my recommendation, it's in the same vein as far as, it's a little bit later than this, 2010, but it has the same vibe, and I love it, and Dana had never seen it, and I made him watch it. Trick or Treat.
Oh, yeah.
It has the same vibe, kind of the early 2000s-ish, but it's getting into where we're getting better horror, and
but it's kind of good.
It's
pretty good.
It's done. I love that movie. What about you?
And you know what? I'm just going to go with what I had said earlier and say Ghost Tourist Trap. I think it was 1980 or 79, like I said, but it's a really fun movie, and you get a Bond girl in it. So, and she was on 70 Show. So she was the blonde mom on that 70 Show.
Oh.
Yeah, and if you just, I would say watch that over this. Like, I think you'll enjoy that more.
Right.
All that being said, I'm going to be, excited to talk to Mr. Abrams if I get the chance. He did pretty good. I liked him in this movie. I did. He had a small role, but what he did well.
Yeah.
A little sideways
Definitely
trucker
did.
hat.
We can all agree he was like an Ashton Kutcher via Punk, right? Type of character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would almost say, like, that's why that was the gratification there for the guys, whereas, like, I guess Paris Hilton getting killed, like, being a horror fan, and I'm sure you guys know this, like, I would have rather, although her death wasn't uncool, I actually thought her death was cool. I just wish it was played out more than to make a joke of it.
Well, so there was a thing that was actually in the special features of that kind of blew my mind when they do that close-up of her face, like, leaning against the ground with the pole in it. When we first watched it, I was like, oh, that doesn't really look all that much like her. That's, like, not that good. It was her. It wasn't a fake head or anything. It was literally her with a...
Oh, that's when they traded her out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when they show the close-up of her face leaning against the ground dead, that's actually her, and somehow it doesn't look like her.
Well, hey, you know what? That's more points for me with Paris Hilton. She put on the makeup, she got in there, and she did it.
Yeah, so I'm so bad about third acts. I always am. Third acts, like, are just, generally action, shit's happening, and it's like, I always find it so hard to take notes.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the movie. But But I think one thing, the house, the final scene of the house melting and everything, it's not the best looking thing, but for the time period, it's pretty decent. I mean, Scorpion King, the bad one with the rock scorpion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, that was about the same time period.
Yeah.
And that was a way higher budget movie. And that's, like, one of the most atrocious things ever filmed. And, like, this, it wasn't perfect, but it wasn't bad either. And then the special effects guy on the special features tried his best to make it sound like the house falling in on itself at the end was, like, practical. And I was like, nah, bro.
That was not.
That was not. Why are you trying to make it sound like that was practical?
He was like, we got in there with heat guns.
And he was like, it burst into flame because it was a bomb and started folding in on itself. And I'm like, well, I don't doubt that's, yeah, sure, that might have happened. That's not what's in the movie, though.
Everything being said, it's a fine movie. I
like to love or hate movies. And this movie is like the hardest Yeah, honestly, I guess if not for Paris Hilton, there is just like no reason to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. A couple of years ago, I did my top 100 horror films you must watch. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you have to go to my channel. I'm not saying subscribe. I'm not saying you have to watch the 5-part series I did. But just watch those movies instead.
Yeah.
Speaking of
I promise you'll be happier than watching this.
Speaking of that, where can people find you?
Oh, thank you again. Well, just to plug Carolina Fear Fest again, if you guys want to get your tickets, carolinafearfest.com. It's going to be great. It's running Memorial Day weekend, so you got 2 weeks left. Cannot wait to see all of you. I'm Mick Manhattan from the Scene Snobs channel. You can go check us out. We do all types of movies, not just horror, classic film reviews, new reviews, podcasts, everything. Like we take care of movies the best we can over there, and we love doing it. We'd love for you to be a part of it. So we love movies. We know you do too. So join the Snob Nation.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, and we can't wait to meet you in real life, in person at Carolina Fear Fest.
Definitely. I would love to get you guys on the mic too down there while we're there. So please, come. I'll have my booth there. So please make sure you come by, stop by and see me.
We will for sure. Thank you.
We won't just walk by you this time.
Yeah. we've seen you lots of times.
At least give me a wave.
Right.
We will come chat. for sure.
I love it. And if we're doing real combat, come up and participate. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. And thank you once again for coming on. And Dana?
We love you, motherfuckers, and good night.